Doc,
in your arm.
No, Rabbi Aaron.
are you wearing your suit yet, Doc? Let's see the suit.
Not yet. Here's I'll show you what I'm preparing for.
Oh my gosh.
You never know. I got to make sure Am Yisrael is safe
Okay.
and
So-
have Hashem take care of everything. And if he puts me in the position that I have to do something, I'm ready.
You're ready, armed, ready, and willing.
Amen.
So a thought I had, which, I mean, we kind of touched on it a lot, but I think the biggest problem all of us have in life, all of us, and we could go through who the all of us is that good people think that the people who mess up are bad people. Let's play that tape again.
Opposed to the people who mess up are the people who get things
Are
done.
the same us.
The people,
In other
the
words,
no, the people who get things done.
no. Let's stay so focused there.
Yeah.
I think that we tend to think that we all think we're good. That's problem number one. We assume that we're good people. Good people assume that they're good people. And good people assume that the people who mess up are bad people. Therefore, when you look at any event or story of evil, you assume that they're the bad guys, but really you're the good guy. Well, for all you know, and we talked about this before, but we'll use the famous example, you could be a bigger behemoth than the other guys. You don't really know yet. So, classic example, go back to it, and then we'll jump in here to Korach, our friend. But famous question, we've asked it a few times. We'll ask it again. If you were born in 1920 in first Germany or Hamburg, Germany, or any other place there, and you were a Gentile, in 1940, what would you have thought about Jews?
And what the propaganda taught you.
Right. Don't say what you think of them now, because Chaim Baruch is recording you. So you'll tell it to me privately later in therapy. But what would you have thought of Jews?
The propaganda was that Jews are not humans.
Are not humans.
Yeah.
So we assume that the bad guys are bad, and that the good people are good, and that the reason why they're messing up is because they're bad people.
Okay.
But again, going back, if you put yourself in their shoes, all the data shows, all the studies, everything shows that if you were born in that environment, in that climate, you probably would be, maybe you'd be better, maybe a little worse, A small percent of Germans were good people. Some people in Hamas, there are some good guys there. Every now and then there's a story about some Arab guy who saves a Jew. But it's not that they're all bad, but our assumption is that we're typecasting evil with evil people.
Opposed to
Good people. And when we hear a story of evil, to think of ourselves, who are we? Who would we be in that situation? A guy sent me a clip, a great clip of Joe Biden 4 years ago and today.
yeah.
And great clip. I don't know if you guys saw it or not. So
I didn't see it.
it's a great clip. It shows you go Google YouTube, Joe Biden 2020, 2024. And it shows you the stark difference. And he sends this to me. He says, look at Joe Biden. And my immediate reaction was, I want to see what I looked like 4 years ago, what I look like today, what I'm going to look like in 4 years from now, and how lazy I am. And I better get to the job of life because I'm, 4 years fly by, and who are we? But it's so easy to be externally focused and typecasting the other. And a little bit, Korach, but even more than Korach, Dasim Va'aviram are typecast in the Torah as the arch villains. So like Dasim Va'aviram, they started out, Moshe Rabbeinu sees them and they snitch on him, and Chazal do tell us that Dasim Va'aviram are the Zel Umazeh for Toiv. And Chazal tell us that whenever there's good, there's evil, and there's always a Zel Umazeh, and to the degree that there's good, there's the degree that there's evil. They also tell us, they call it Gadol Mechaverei, Yitzrei Gadol Mimenu, which is the sense that we never turn the corner of struggle to be decent people. Just the circumstances in which that struggle takes place may change. So, like from my point of view, I know some very holy people. But when I look at some of them, I say, how in the world could those guys do that? Like, that's terrible. And when you get really close to holy people, it was like, oh my gosh. Shazelle, you know what I'm talking about, right? The closer you are, you say, oh my gosh, look at these guys, right? So what really happens is, when you really get to know them, they're human beings like you. And if you were in their shoes, even if you were holy, you'd also be messing up on some stuff and succeeding on some. So the story of Korach always came across to me as the one with the villains. You know, Korach and Adasai and Dasim Va'aviram, and they come to a bitter end and all. But of course we know that that's not really true, because we've talked about this before. That who was Korach's Adasai? Go ahead, tell me, rabbis. Who was Adasai? Who? Sanhedrin. Who else? Very good. Who else?
Oh, you said Nachshon.
Carrying the nice Tehudai.
The nice Tehudai. Who else? Chaim Baruch, loud.
I said Nachshon.
Ointment. Who else?
I said Nachshon.
Chaim Baruch said Nachshon. Nachshon ben Aminadav.
All the Rebbes, all the big Rebbes.
All the Heilige Rebbes, all the holy rabbis. So where does Nachshon get mixed in? And it's a little bit of a machlekes if he was or was not, and maybe we'll spend a few minutes really learning, not just schmoozing. But Nachshon was l'chayra mixed into this. All right, you guys ready for that?
Ready to hear that.
All right, somebody read to me Pasuk Aleph and Beis, please.
Vayikach Korach ben Yitzhak ben Kos ben Levi ben Dasim Va'aviram ben Eliyav and Oim ben Pelas. So all these people.
Okay, go on.
Yekumu l'fnei Moshe. They came against Moshe. Va'anoshim b'nei Yisrael. Hamishum l'sayim. There was 250 people. The Sion Eda, the most prominent people. Kriya Mayim. Anshe Shem, the people that were the first, best name, the Soloveitchiks.
The Soloveitchiks, the Halberstams, the Cutlers,
No, I didn't say the Cutlers.
Not the Cutlers. Let's not get crazy.
Okay, so
Thank you for the translation.
The Cutlers, but not the Baron.
not the Bard. Okay, see, I could fall into the same trap. Why not? Everyone else does, so why not?
You could, but you didn't.
I don't know. We don't know. We don't really know. So, what in that pasuk? Which words do you not know exactly what it means? There's two words that I bet you have no clue what they mean.
B'nai Yisrael.
Oh, come on, Doc. To come smack you myself. Of course you know what that means. Doc, you're trying too hard.
Know who was there, right? If he had 250 people of B'nai Yisrael, was it everyone? Was it a smaller group?
No. You're getting too philosophical on me. There's two words. I just want to know what it means. I don't think any of you know what it means. Kriyamayit. Excellent. So the pasuk says, I'm going to read, and I'm going to stop at the point where you have no clue what it's talking about. Vayukumu l'fnei Moshe, they're stood up in front of Moshe. These people, Korach, ben Yitzhar, ben Kas, and Dasim, Avirim, and Oin, and people from Bnei Yisrael, 250 of them. Who were these 250 people? The Ada, the elevated ones of the Ada of the nation. Kriyei Mayed. What does that mean, Kriyei Mayed? What's Kriyei Mayed? Anshe Shem, we know.
They were called to learn money.
Who's that? Please tell me where in the Torah do you have this terminology, Kriyei Mayed? Who is this?
English, he says princes.
Before Rashi. We know the rules. Guys, got to stick to the rules. You can do whatever you want if you want to go look all over, but you're never going to learn how to learn.
Translate that for me.
Kriyei Mayed literally means those who are called
Princes of
to the
assembly.
occasion, or maybe called to
He says you're princes of the assembly.
Princess. That's the Ada. What's Kriyei Mayed? So Kriyei Mayed literally would mean those who are called to the
Oh,
occasion,
those summoned for meeting.
summoned for meeting, called for the occasion, or called to the Ayel Mayed. It would mean something along those lines. But it's certainly an exceptional statement, because you already know that they were in the Ada, and you already know that they were Anshe Shem. So that's that's, as we say in Polish, upgeret. That we know they were in the Ada, and we know they were Anshe Shem. They were Chashva people. But the Torah adds something, Kriyei Mayed. What does this mean, Kriyei Mayed?
No.
What's that?
No, I said no.
Okay, so let's go back, because there's only one other reference like this in the Torah. Only one other. And if we go to that other, we'll see where this term Kriyei Mayed is used. And then you'll come back and you'll say, okay, I got it. Okay, and this is in the beginning of Bamidbar. There's Hashem speaks to Moshe, Midbar Sinai, and he says, with you, count the Jews, and with you should be one man to each tribe. And these are the names of the men who should stand with you: Elitzur, Shlomiel, Nachshin, Yasanel, Eliav, Yosef, Ephraim, is Elishama, and Gamliel, Avidan ben Gedoni, yada, yada, yada. Ela, Kriyei Ha'eda, Nesiei Matas Avoisa, Roshei Alpha Yisrael Haim. Vayikach Moshe v'Aaron Sanashim Ela Shenikfu b'Shemus. There's multiple layers here of cross references to what we just learned. We don't need Rashi. Rashi is for Amaratzim, or Rashi is after you understand it. You look in Rashi and you really understand it. This reference, there is a very specific reference. It says that these 12 people, they were the called ones of the Ada. And what were they called for here? They were called for a very special occasion. What was the special occasion in Bamidbar? Rabbis, what was the occasion? I'll put on the English if you need it.
Wasn't that for the count for each Ada?
To count the Jews. Right? They're going to count the Jews. So in the counting of the Jews, there's a very special event. In Bamidbar, they're being counted. And there's 12 people being counted, and 12 people being called for the occasion of counting. They're the called ones of the Ada. Don't look at the English, please, because English is terrible. Let's try to get it back to Hebrew. So this is the only reference in the Torah, in the 5 books of Moses. In Korach, it's called Kriyei Mayed. Those who are called to the occasion. Which occasion? The occasion is the counting of the Jews. And Eila Kriyei Ha'eda Nesiya Matzah Vaysim Roshei Alpha Yisrael Haim. And in case you're not sure that these are the Nesim, the same people, the next pasuk says that they were Nikfu B'Shemus. What does that mean, Nikfu B'Shemus? What does this mean? They were identified by
Their name.
name.
Whatever they could.
So sometimes Hashem says, call 70 Zakanim. You go pick this Canaan. Call whoever you want to call. Call 70. Make up your mind. You figure it out. Sometimes Hashem says, by the Meraglim, Hashem didn't say who to take. Right? But here, in this parsha, these people are nikfu b'shemus. Hashem says, you can't just take whoever you want. These are the 12 people you have to take. So these are going back to, for a moment, to parshas Korach. Let's look at the Lashon here. Vayikumu l'fnei Moshe v'anosh mibnei Yisrael chamishim ha'masayim. Who were they? Nesiei ha'eda, the Nesiim of the Eda. And then there's two more descriptions of them. Kriyei Mayid, those who were called to the occasion, and the only calling you have is those people. Anshe Shem, the people of name, which you just had in Bamidbar, Asher Nikfu B'Shemus. Do you understand now why Rashi says what he says? Let's see what Rashi says. Okay. Okay, let's read Rashi. Now, Rashi is unique here because he only provides a reference to something that's very important, but he doesn't speak it out. And we'll see in a moment why he doesn't speak it out. Okay, so I'm going to read because it's a lot of text. He talks about Shevet Ruvain and how they landed up. And then he goes into why Korach was fighting with Moshe Rabbeinu. He was upset about Ali Tzafon. And Korach says we had 4 brothers, and he goes on to the whole thing. And he puts up his own nephew. I'm going to fight with him. Ma asa, here's the critical point. Omar Vakines, Korach took 250 people. Rashi Sanhedrius, Ruban Mishevet Ruvain, Shchenov. And then he goes on, he says, Amir de Gazach, Vehem, Elitzur ben Shteo v'chaver v'kiyotzabay. Shenemar, as we just read, Nesiya Eda, Kriyei Mayed, Ulhalanu Oimer, Eila Kriyei Ha'eda. These are those who are called for the Eda. So these were the Balei Machlekes, the good people. Not the evil people, but the good people. So what do we learn from this? Who were the rebels?
The good people.
Who were the good people? The Nesiim. The same people who relied on Moshe, the same people who Moshe relied on them, the same people we all got excited in Parshas Nasai, they all brought their karbanos. They were the holy Jews, and they were the ones who led the fight. So if you looked in the mirror the other day and you said, I could chill out. I'm a good guy. Know that Nachshon, who was a much bigger hero than Moshe Rabbeinu, because Moshe Rabbeinu saved the Jews, but he didn't want to do it. He argued with about Hashem for 7 days. He argued and said, I don't want to do it. And Nachshon didn't argue. Nachshon jumped in to save the Jews. Moshe Rabbeinu saved the Jews, he was asked. Nachshon just jumped in and he saved the Jews. So we'll come back to Nachshon if you really want to learn, which I don't consider this real learning. This is like the spice for learning. But if you really want to learn, you'll see it's not pashut exactly which people were in this group or not. And we could spend hours or days analyzing this. But the pashtus is that these were these people. So why does the Torah identify them in Bamidbar and not identify them here?
The Torah is giving you a reference.
A reference. Why does the Torah spell out their names here?
It's probably on a negative aspect.
Negative
They're
aspect.
trying to keep
Beautiful. So in Bamidbar, we're spelling out their names because they're called for this occasion. In Nasai, we're spelling out their names because they're doing something beautiful. They're bringing karbanos. But here, they're kind of messing up. Well, they're not kind of. They're really messing up. As Doc says, you done messed up, right? They're messing up. So since they're messing up, so now here, we don't want to say out their names openly. We provide a reference, but enough reference that you can really understand what's going on, who these people are. So allow me to bring you into Rabbeinu Bachya, the great commentators.
How many of these 250 were from the Meraglim?
Ooh, you just stepped on a landmine.
Okay.
You just
I
stepped.
didn't hear what he said.
He asked, Chaim Baruch asked how many of these people were from the Meraglim. So none of them. But the question is, why not if these were the Nesiim?
Right.
Right, so you just stepped on a landmine, and that landmine is a machlokas between Even Ezra and Ramban. And if you unlock that, you'll see how many, the whole story of the Nesiim, who these people were, what really happened to them, what their trajectory was and all. But just give me a moment. I'm going to pop into Rabbeinu Bachya. You have that in the Chumash, Chaim Baruch.
Not this one.
Not this one. Okay, take out the beautiful art scroll done by my good friend Ed Zucker. Let me just open up Rabbeinu Bachya. Hold on, I just missed it somewhere. Ramban, Sefarna, Aviezer, Yevager, Archayev. Okay, hold on. One more second. There we go. This Rabbeinu Bachya talks about everything we just spoke about. Hold on, there's a lot. It's a beautiful piece here. Hold on, I went too fast.
Ma? Ma, you want to run with me?
One moment. Second. Okay. Second. All right, here we go, boys. You ready? Somebody please read here. Umichlal chamishma Messiah elu.
The Machlal Chamishim Messiah included in these 250 people, Vayishnaim Asar Anasiyim were the 12 Anasiyim, Shekrivu, that they did the offerings by Chanukah Mizbeach, when the Mizbeach was anointed. Chain Darshu was inaugurated. So Chain Darshu Rabbeinu Zal Migzeret Shava, and this is what Rabbeinu Zal learned from Migzeret Shava. Kriya. He said, "Well, it says over here, Nesiya Eda Kriya Mayim. Tiv Midbar Sinai, Eda Kriya Eda Nesiya Madras Havaisa." So just like over there, same thing over here. Also, the 12 people.
Because of the word Kriya, the only reference to Kriya in the Torah is this reference.
Right. So
go on. Yeah.
Even though the Torah wasn't a farce to them, didn't what's the word in English? Persimmon?
The Torah didn't identify them by name.
identify them. Nothing Simonim. He did a simon with the Xer Shava. Metoich HaMekloimos. Metoich HaMekloimos. Atumei Ben Toisa.
If you look in one place here in Korach and one place there in Bamidbar, you'll know who it is. Why not specify their names? This is what Chaim Baruch said. Go on.
Moshe Ben Toisa. She's going to kill him based on Merchat. The Lay Rotsa. Agneva. The Fire Samoi. A prince, the Rebbe's kid went to the mikveh Friday, right? Nothing changes. And he figured he'll grab a wallet, he'll go for a joyride. So and the police came and they redacted it. They didn't want
they redacted it. They covered up. We don't say the name. So then they called Shanky, and then what he called came. The Lakewood Scoop came, and they said, "Who's the guy? We want to." Or Lakewood News Network. Who's the guy? He said, Amalahem. He's a son. The father's at Ebba. He's about 5'8". He has black hair. He has a short nose. Misha Nassim Samanov, they know, okay, who it was exactly. Afkan. Afal Pishalei Pirsamon. V'lei Pirish Shemaisam. Right? Because we're saying Nikva B'Shem. Yitoich Sameim Ati Yidei Mihem. Adkan. V'hinei Zem Midarkei HaTorah. Shechol Dracheh Darkei Noyam. That it was mefarshim them by the mitzvah and the schos of Chanukas HaMizbeach. But here it's by Peranius. We don't say their names out loud because they were the good people. The bad people, we say their names. Korach was a bad guy. Yitzhar was a good guy, but he had a son Korach. Basim Abiram were bad. Oin ben Pelos was bad. But these people were good people. The F Shaloimar. Let's read this end. Ki Mavada Simonim Yesh Remez. B'Shem HaNashim. Arishan Shenikra Elitzer ben Shteir. Ki Me'es Hatzur. Hushlach Aleim HaEsh. Stay or. That Shakai, Hashem sent or down on him. This is nice Chassidish Torah now from the Rabbeinu Bachya of the Ramuzim. Okay, I have a bonus question for you. So I want to go back just to the principle. The principle is critical for us in life. If you want to make it in life and be a successful person, I don't mean successful financially, but a successful person means you want to be a happy person. To be a happy person, you want to be a moral person. To be a successful person, you have to be a moral person, to be morally successful. It's not enough to be a good person, because even good people do terrible things. Good people murder little babies, proven by all the studies and proven by the study of Korach V'Hadassah. But to be a good person, you have to make sure that you don't get caught up in bad things. Even when the mob is there, even when it sounds right, even when it feels great, even when all the signs are going your way, to check yourself again, and again, and never to be satisfied that you have done the right thing morally. All right, bonus question, all right? You ready? You guys ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Here, they are called Kri'ei Mayid. Kri'ei is what I would call those who were called for the Mayid. Kri'ei is like a noun. Kri'ei is like a noun. The Kri'ei Mayid. It's a noun that these are the ones who are called for the Mayid. Let's go back for a moment to good old Bamidbar. And let's see what it says there. Okay, what does it say? Okay, what does it say here? Please read it. Please read this pasuk. I can't hear you. I can't hear you, Shazeli.
You don't hear me?
I hear you, I just don't know what you're saying. Okay, be very specific when you read the word kri'ei.
Kri'ei with a small yid.
Okay, so there's two ways to pronounce kri'ei.
Oh.
Right? Kri'ei with a small yid. So there's a kri and a ksif here, right?
Right.
So on the let me have your Chumash Chaim Baruch for a second. I want to see if this is in Rashi here.
Yeah, Rashi
Which
says-
posting?
Okay. In the
No, not here. Rashi says it in Korach.
right. So hold on a second. 1 second. Let's go back here. Back to Aleph. Here we are. We're in Aleph right here. Ela Kriye Ksiv. And how do we pronounce it? Kruye. Right? So here, it's Ksiv Kriye with a small yud, but Ushazeli mispronounced it, because we don't pronounce it Kriye, we pronounce it Kruye with a Vav. Let's go now to Korach. Let's see what it says by Korach. How is it written? Hold on a moment. How is it written by Korach? Kriye. So why would we change the Kri from the Ksiv? If the Kri and the Ksiv in both places is the same, if the letters are written the same in both, why in Bamidbar do we change it a little bit to Kriye?
The Balatinim says.
Go ahead.
Balatinim says Bamidbar,
Mm-hmm.
Bav Katia. And the reason why they read it through A, Shul Shalomiyah L'Tzurishada, she Zimri Ben Sali.
Go on.
By Korach, the reason why parshas Korach says Kriye with a Kusavuv, the Fish Hayikilam Neshuim, but here in parshas Bamidbar, the Kan Hayu Acherim Tzadikim. I guess there were some of them that were Tzadikim.
So let's go through.
This
In Korach, there's no Vav and there's no Yud. There's nothing. It's pronounced Kriye, right? It's always pronounced Kriye, but in Korach, it's spelled without the Vav and the Yud because they were all Rishayim. Here, there's two aspects to it. There's a Vav and a Yud. Okay? So it's written Kriye because of Shlumiel. The Yud is always holy. So the Yud is whole. So the Yud would be everybody. But we want to hide it a little bit because Shlumiel was Zimri, that he really messed up with with his situation in the end of Bamidbar by Parshas Pinchas. So I love this because the Torah is building into this little words references to what's really going on here. And I always thought the reason why we pronounce it differently is to be mastir, to hide a little bit the Gzeir Shava. Just like the Torah hid, right? What does the Torah do? The Torah hides the fact that these with tzaddikim were messed up, as we just saw in Rabbi Bachya. So the Torah here, even though it's written as Kriye, we pronounce it Kriye to hide a little bit, so it shouldn't be known that we're talking about the same people. Part of the hiding of who they were. But one thing's for sure, that Zimri, right, according to the Baal HaTurim, Shlumiel ben Surishadeh is Zimri. So he did not die by Adas Korach. So if he didn't die by Adas Korach, there's no guarantee that all 12 Nesiim died in Adas Korach. So all Rashi said was that Elitzur ben Shteir v'Chaverov, but he doesn't list out all 12 by name. However, Rabbeinu Bachya quotes a medrash that says it was all 12 Nesiim. And then he has to make an exception for Shlomiel ben Surishadai. So there is some machlokes exactly what happened to Nachshon, where he died and all. But the fact remains that one way or another, these 10, 12 holy Jews, they're the ones who joined the rebellion, the worst rebellion ever in the history of Klal Yisrael. So I think that, the road to success has got to be a constant self-awareness and a constant examination of self, of who am I, what am I doing, Am I doing the right thing? And without getting neurotic and without getting crazy, but a constant review of self to say, how do I know that what I'm doing is right? Because I'm a good person? It's meaningless. All right, I'll leave you with something cute. You ready? Ma'isa Shahaya Kachaya. Here we are. Okay, so this whole fight's going on, and Moshe Rabbeinu goes down. He goes whatever. They fight. Hold on. Here we go.
The question is, how does such, obviously your point is exactly well taken. How do people like this have jealousy when they have so much? Why is it that they lose their awareness of who they are? How does that happen? How does it seem?
Because
Rabbi,
moral refinement
One second,
is
Rabbi,
not.
did they do it out of jealousy or did they do it because they felt that this was the right thing to do?
Well, they thought it was the right thing, but their deep motivation was jealousy. So I think that moral refinement, by definition, is not a state of being, but it's an action of self-refinement. It's an active process of zichuch versus a state of being. And the Nisim got so caught up in what they did and the Chanukas HaMishkan and all, it got to them a little bit. And now they were like, okay, look at me. So one more pasuk. Let's read this quickly. Vayaka Moshe, vayelech al dasim avirim. This is already deep into the fight. And the whole Zikna Yisrael followed after him. Let's see Rashi, please. Rashi. We're now, Chaim Baruch, in Tez Zayin Chafei. Vayaka Moshe, vayelech al dasim aviram, vayelchu acharav Zikna Yisrael. And Rashi says, Moshe thought that they'll at least be nice to him, they'll at least be reasonable to him. At least they won't be rude. And of course they were rude to him, as we'll see in a moment. So what do Chazal say about this pasuk? That if you don't want to be machzik and machlokes, you got to go down to the other guy. So even though Moshe Rabbeinu was so holy and he was the most amazing whatever, but he went ahead and he went down to speak, to try to make mikan. We learn that we're not machzik and machlokes. There might be a reference to that in if you look at the Talmud Bavli in the Chumash, look in the Art Scroll.
No. You mean this one?
Interesting that he went to the lowest of the low. He didn't go to anybody else.
No, he went to Dasan Aviram because he thought they would be makatov, that he saved their life from the Mitzri.
All right, let's read the Hamak Davar. Vayelech al dasim aviram. Aval b'Sanhedrin daf kuf yud lamda mikan. She'ein machzikin b'machlokes. You could be right. Moshe Rabbeinu was darn right here. He was right, but ein machzikin b'machlokes. Okay.
What do you want to look at?
In the Hamak Davar. You have a Hamak Davar there?
Mm-hmm.
No, it's the Hamak Davar. I'll show it to you. Look, it would be in the Bavli. In Likutei Bavli Shalmi. Omer Shlakish, Mikan Lamdu Mikan She'ei Machzikim V'Machlokes. Hare Pirsha Shahalach Moshe Lechicham Lefaisa. He wanted to break the Machlokes. So even though he was right, he said we're not machzik and machlokes, and since we're not machzik and machlokes, I'm going to try to get them to calm down, be mafayas them, and to get them to back off. So I saw my father had a big machlokes in BMG. There was a rabbi who wanted to be the rabbi of the yeshiva, a famous guy, and my father held he shouldn't be the pasek. And this guy had a big crowd around them, and they were tough guys, and they made a big machlokes. And that guy's son was in my class, and they went to, he made a bar mitzvah. He did not invite my father. So Shabbos morning after davening, my father said, come. We start walking, we walk home, we walk past the house, and I see he's going to the bar mitzvah. I said, Abba, where are you going? He didn't invite you. My father said, he probably forgot. She said, no, he didn't invite you. He said, no, he probably forgot. I'm sure he forgot. And my father went in and he spoke about this person like he was in the biggest Gedolei Hador. Even though his machane, his camp, was raging in battle against my father at the time. They were raging in warfare. I went and he spoke and machzik and machlekas.
He moved to Israel afterwards. For
We don't want to say who. Yeah.
No, I'm saying.
Yeah. Let's go. Let's just see this here.
But that's not being, that is actually doing the work.
That's doing the work. Uncomfortable. What are they going to say? Who are they? Just want to see if I can find this Gemara here. Somewhere Kuf Yud. Hold on. Kuf Yud.
The other famous word
Even
that
Aleph.
I think your father, your grandfather, you think your Aaron, your grandfather, their names take sense, not this week parsha.
No.
Well, it's a fascinating part. I think I might have told you once. It says, Hockey is north and buns up Esau.
Mm-hmm.
Zeni is just Oim and Pellet.
Right. That's the Gemara right here. If you look on screen.
Right? What did she say? She said something very simple.
What's in it for you, baby?
Yeah, but anyone could have said it. That's the epitome of Chachma that's my mother
Right,
was
right.
talking about. What's going on? So I heard from Aaron. They saved enough from Aaron. Tell me if you heard it. Das is goodness. To think straight in the middle of a conflict, to say something normal, that is goodness.
Wow.
It's genius. It's such an unbelievable word. You see it in a daily life. People are involved. You can't say nothing.
There's a couple getting divorced now, and they were going to Bezdin, and the father called me when he was going to Bezdin. He says, how should I act with my son-in-law? When I come into the room, how should I act? I said, go over and give him a big hug, and you tell him that, thank you for being a wonderful father. If your daughter can't get along with him, or he can't get along with your daughter, he's still the father of your children. He's a human being. He says, you sure I should say hello to him? So I said, last time I looked in my Maimonides in the Rambam, he says, Havimaktim shalom l'chol adam. He didn't say except when you're in Bezdin. So go over to the guy and be nice to him. I don't know what happened. I didn't bother asking him what happened. But just to show you this Gemara here.
He screamed this week. It was terrible in Bezdin.
He screamed, the father?
Father screamed and Bezdin laughed at him, basically.
My heart breaks. Because he's
know,
trying
it's
so
a
hard.
It's a but the fact that he called Rabbi Aaron is already.
He's trying so hard, so hard.
I don't know if he's trying. I'm not sure.
I hope.
No.
Vayokam Moshe v'yelech al das ma'amir Omer Shlakish mikan she'ay machzikim b'machlekes da'amar Rav kol ha'machzik b'machlekes oiver b'lav. It's a lav. She'nemav lo yir Korach kekorach v'adosai. Zokt Rav, that Rav says an amazing thing. If Moshe Rabbeinu would not have gone down to Dasim Aviram's tent, he'd be over alav. Ushazela, you hear that? Did you know this Gemara? This is an amazing Gemara. In other words, I'm not mechuyev. Listen, I'm not mechuyev to go. He's a mamza. What does it do with me? I don't got to get involved with it. He's fighting with me. Zuck, the Gemara is an amazing Gemara. I don't think there's a Gemara like this in the whole Torah. Vayaka Moshe v'yelech hadasim. Reb Shlakich says, "Ei machzikim b'machlekes." That's why he went. The Omer Rav kol ha'machzik b'machlekes over on a lav. He's over on a lav. Shenem of l'yir kekorach kadosai. So what's the lav here being like Korach and Adosai? If Moshe Rabbeinu doesn't go down, why does that make him like Korach and Adosai? I have a question for you on the Gemara. I want to understand this Gemara, Shazeli. You learned in Yeshiva. Chaim Baruch, you learned in Yeshiva Itzikel. I want to understand, why is he over? I want you to understand the parshas of this Gemara. Don't be like Korach and Adosai. So the Gemara is saying that Mike Ben didn't want to be machzik and machlokes. You're over in a lab. Why are you over in a lab? Because don't be like Korach and Adosai. Not going to Dustin Avir makes him like Korach and Adosai. Not if you don't go to Korach to Dustin Aviram's house, that makes you like them.
Again, it takes two. Yeah.
Yeah. Zok the Gemara. This is an amazing Gemara that Moshe went. We learned from this Ein Machzikim Machlokes because Rav said anybody's Machzikim Machlokes is not even allowed because it says that if Moshe Rabbeinu would not have gone down, he would be over a lav, and the lav he would be over is he'd be Machzikim Machlokes like Korach and Adosai. They started it. My friend, if you act like them, you're in the same freaking boat as them. Is that mind-boggling? So when we go back to our theme, the good person, the other guy started up, he's in the wrong, whatever. If you act like them, you're finished. Zokt Rashi, Shemochel al Kvoidai. The greatness was that he was Michael on his covet. And he went himself to be Mavatal the Machlokes. He didn't send Shluchim. That was what was the Mikanche Machzikim Machlokes? Rashi explains this. What does this mean, Mein Machzikim Machlokes? That if he would have sent a Shliach, it would not have been good enough. You hear this, Rashi? If he would have sent a shliach, it means he's makbid on his covenant. If he's makbid on his covenant, he's machzik b'machlokes. If he's machzik b'machlokes, he's just as bad. Shemochel al kavoid v'u'atzmai holach levatel ha'machlokes.
So why do we makabel for this coming year?
Ooh, I'm scared of this. It's like. I mean, what would be makabel? I mean, it's like scary stuff.
But the bottom line is that machlokes of Havegesh Tel Kol Yisrael. I don't know if it's in the gate of Kinderstone. I tried to really put it into reality.